Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This is my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, March 5th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And for those of you that care about Bitcoin, be sure to stick around to the end because I will do a Bitcoin technical analysis. First, though, we'll look at some stocks and a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. Ticker symbol number one, MARA. And all things considered, from a bigger picture standpoint, the chart's hanging in there just fine. But I do realize, depending on perspective, this could have been a really bad day for you. If you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you were buying some sort of breakout right here, and you bought, and you were looking to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well then yes, from that standpoint, the chart looks really bad because the price did take a very big fall from that breakout area. But if you care about the bigger picture point of view, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched past videos, but hopefully you remember me talking about that level down there at the $25 mark, and you can see that once again, power of charts, found some support right there and actually got a nice little bounce from there. So moving forward, the $25 mark will be that main area of support that you want to see continue to hold strong as support. And then in terms of areas of resistance, initial area going to be right there, that pink line there, the 200 period moving average. That's just based on the foundational rule in charting that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And then if the price can push up through the pink line, that purple line there, the 50 period moving average, will be the next key level to keep an eye on. So like I said, today individually, not the greatest day, but when you consider multiple days, the overall chart is doing just fine. Next one, JAGX. Very nice mover today. Talked about this one last week and how that was a key area of resistance, but got the big gap up today, so definitely updates need to be made. First update, just based on that rule, and levels of resistance are broken, closed above. You want to see them act as support, so we'll change that from red to green. I'm also going to head and just adjust this area of support up now that we have more data, and call the ideal level of support right up there at 0.116. So that being ideal, meaning, Clay, what would make the chart look the absolute best going forward? And that would be if the price can stay above that green line. With that being said, from the big picture point of view, just watch that purple line right there, the 50 period simple moving average. Keyword there being moving. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher and essentially serve as a trend line that's drawn itself for you. Now, it's not technically a trend line, it's a moving average, but I like to call those trend lines for lazy people because it'll draw itself for you. So from a big picture standpoint, as long as the price remains above the trend line, then the overall, bulls are still in control because the price is putting in those higher lows. In terms of areas of resistance, pretty straightforward here. Got a nice little trend line that you can draw right there. So keep an eye on that, and then I'll draw it very quickly. But from a pattern standpoint, we have the resistance, we have the support, we have the big upwards move here, we have the golf hole down here to make it a little bit more visual, and this would be a bull pennant pattern. So if you like bull pennants, you like penny stocks, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, NYCB, and this one just continues to get beat down. This regional bank, which has been on the news, kind of went silent, and then the past couple of days, both Friday and then today, as you're seeing here, back in the news and not in a good way, and this thing just continues to get hammered. But what I like about these is, especially these that are in the headlines quite a bit, from a trading standpoint, you can definitely get some good, now they can be very violent and volatile, but from a trading standpoint, like I said, that's sort of the things we want. And I mean, check out this trend line right here. That is a very, very steep trend line. And that is one of those areas where, of course, there's no guarantees, but is it plausible? Is it logical to think that if the price can get some sort of, reprieve back above that level, that break in of itself could create additional buying pressure, even if it's just some shorts covering or something of that nature? Absolutely. So yes, these are definitely high risk. These are definitely situations where you better be able to manage that risk, honor stop losses. But if you play these right and you can time these, when you're getting those just little kind of movements that can all of a sudden lead to bigger movements, that is one of those situations that a lot of traders out there can find interesting, especially down in this price range down below $5. But the moral of the story here is this one has been in the headlines. It's gotten beat down. It's gotten beat down very quickly. So is there some sort of dead cat bounce that can translate to day trading profits? If you like to play potential dead cats, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one, SOUN, and did this one previously. And today, it's hanging in there, but it's also looking sketchy because I put that level in there previously as an area of support, and you can see that earlier on in the day right there did a good job of holding. But this afternoon, the price is broken down below it, and that's where you see that rule once again go into play. When levels of support are broken and closed above, they tend to act as resistance. I'm going to zoom in here now that you see where that line comes from. And you can see right now that that former support trend line has become very, very annoying from the resistance side of things. Not saying the price can't get above it ever again. I'm just saying it makes sense why the price is struggling at that area, and that moving forward, that'll be the initial level that you're going to want to watch very closely. If the price can push above that resistance, next overarching level would be that purple line up there, 50-period moving average. I'm just going to get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now. What about next potential areas of support? And that would be this former little consolidation breakout area right down there around, let's just call it the $5 mark. So change that to green. And then also from a much bigger kind of overarching standpoint, keep an eye on that pink line there, which on my chart denotes a very famous, a very well-known 200-period moving average. But yeah, big question mark going into tomorrow is, okay, this trend line has failed, not epically or in any sort of disaster, but is this trend line going to ultimately hold, or are the bears going to pick up that much more momentum and create that much more downwards pressure? In my opinion, at least, I think that's what most traders are going to be wondering. Next one, AMC, and overall did a good job holding strong. Talked about this level quite a bit, and it has done a good job of holding that support there. Today, earlier on, there was a pretty nasty breakdown of it, but to give credit where credit's due, the bulls recovered nicely. Bears tried again, but wouldn't you know it, look what went right back to acting as support right there at $4.23. So that's going to remain the key level to watch moving forward in terms of support levels. And then, sorry about that. And then if that level doesn't quite hold up, you do have these lows down here where it was at today earlier on. In fact, I should get that mapped out just because that actually is a relatively important level. So right down there at the $4.12 mark. So there we go. If there is any sort of bounce and nothing new in terms of the levels you've already heard about, you have the purple line there, 50-period moving average, pink line there, 200-period moving average. But in my opinion, at least, yes, those things are relevant, but the most important thing right now is the price going to be able to hold above these supports? Is the price going to ultimately be able to kind of bottom out here, or is this just a little miniature dead cat bounce where the price rolls right back over? I think the next couple of days are going to be very revealing in that regard. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for my free live online webinar that I'm offering here later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live webinar. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the page you can use to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one, NIO, rough day here. Not yesterday technically, but Friday. Very nice move. Got hung up with that pink line, which you've heard me talk about, and that's why I've been pointing it out, because classic example of it acting as resistance right there. And then today, just a nasty gap down. Broke all the way through there, so got to get that change from support into resistance. So one of the newest areas, if there is any sort of attempted bounce, going to be right up there at the 555 mark. But really the main dynamic now is, can this area hold down here at $5.30? To be fair, so far so good. Price came down around that general area and then got the bounce right here. But as I speak, you can see that candle is starting to try to work its way back down to that area. So that'll be the big question mark, is can the 529 mark hold? That'll be the main area of support. And then just to offer up a bit more context, you can see here that if the price does not hold above there, as you can see, this was, or you can't see, let me move it over. There we go. You can see this was the low from back here in early February. So we're talking about lows that have not been seen for several weeks. And the price, to be fair, it did hold, it did bounce, but is that going to continue to happen moving forward? That's definitely the dynamic that I think matters most. Next one, PHUN, good solid pattern here. So let me be very clear. This is not me trying to impress you or implying that this is some great discovery on my part. The exact opposite. I assure you, a lot of people have noticed this dynamic. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same patterns, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. And that's what we have here. So what I'm actually going to do is let's just extend the 200-period moving average out a little bit. It'll look something like that. And that'll make seeing this pattern easier to see, although you've already technically seen it. So we have our resistance, we have our support. You have the big upwards move here. So put the golf ball down here. So you've seen this on past ones already. Another bull pennant pattern. But I believe the previous one was on a penny stock, if I remember right. That might be a lie. I might be getting them mixed up. But moral of the story here, if you like bull pennants, but maybe you like stocks up above that $10 range, definitely keep an eye on PHUN. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and we got our answer today. What answer? Well, for those of you that have been watching past videos, you know that we've just been waiting. Who's going to win out on this battle here? It's been a multi-day sideways channel, back and forth, but we got our answer, and the bears won out. Gap down this morning, broke through the bottom of the channel, came all the way down here, didn't even care at all about that 200 period moving average, busted down below there, and then just dropped and dropped and dropped. Now, there is a little bit of a bounce right now, although it's starting to maybe roll back over. But moral of the story there, a very, very bad day here for Tesla. So, we got to start back over in far as where these next potential areas are at. So, let me just make sure. Yeah. So, really, in the near term, I would argue that the easiest way is just to answer that question. Where did the bleeding finally stop today? And that was right down here at the 186.75. So, no fancy logic other than literally just where did the bleeding stop? And you can see it stopped once, twice, 3 times right there. Does that mean it'll stop a 4th time? It doesn't. But is it at least valid and logical to think that, well, it's already bounced from there 3 times. Why not a 4th time? Yeah, that's certainly logical too. But that's why that risk management matters because, there's no guarantee that it'll for sure bounce. But I don't think anybody could call you crazy for thinking that it could bounce when it's already happened there 3 times before. In terms of areas of resistance, I think a good initial spot right there where that dead cat bounce, has seemingly stopped right there around 190.25. And then any sort of bigger bounce, definitely keep an eye on that pink line there, 200 period moving average, given that was an area it was supposed to be an area of support. But like I said earlier, it didn't really act as support. So keep an eye on that, any sort of bigger bounce. But as of now, yeah, things are definitely not off to a good start to the week here for Tesla. Next one, OCEA. Very nice mover today. Although last 30 minutes, as I speak, you can see there's a bit of a pullback here. But still, all things considered, good solid move. So the first level that I would consider from a support standpoint, for those of you that like to play pullbacks, right down there at the 335 mark. So if that is more so your strategy, keep an eye on that. And then just from an overall health standpoint, we once again go back to that 50 period moving average. So as that purple line there moves itself higher and higher, as long as the price stays above that line, as the line itself moves higher and higher, the bulls are in full control. And then in terms of areas of resistance, as you're seeing here, I guess I can get rid of these older annotations. It's been a long time since the price went up this high. So we'll just go back and ask ourselves a very straightforward question. Where did the party finally stop today for the bulls? And that was right up there at 478. So no fancy logic there. Key dynamic of resistance, 478. But anyway, look at it. Big volume surge today. Nice move up. And even if it just kind of pulls back here a little bit, then from that standpoint, you could still get yourself a nice little potential bull flag pattern, even if it pulls back a little bit. But all things considered, good solid day. Next one, BBAI. And once again, we have one of these patterns here where got to think a lot of people are watching it. So when a lot of people are watching the same patterns, wondering the same thing, call it that self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movements. So I know that I've talked about bull pennants, but I did just talk about a bull flag, and that's what we actually have here. So resistance, support, big move up. So this would be a bull flag pattern. So, I mean, nothing fancy here other than the fact that it, had that big surge, now doing some consolidating. So the question mark moving forward is, can the bulls recover and then make another leg to the upside? That is a more than valid situation. So if you like this price range, you like bull flags, certainly keep an eye on BBAI. So that wraps up my top 10 stocks. If you enjoyed this, then definitely go get signed up for that free training. Like I said, the link's down below. But for those of you that like to trade Bitcoin, let's go and take a look at that chart. Now, one quick disclaimer here is I've been doing the 30-minute time frame, but now this is the 4-hour time frame. And this will mean a tad bit to more of those of you that watch the video on Friday. But on Friday, talked about how, okay, we had this bull pennant. We had a little bit of a battle going on. Who would win? What would happen over the weekend? And, well, yes, now we have our answer. Huge breakout, and it's just been one green candle after another. One of those situations where it felt like, and currently feels like, can anything stop Bitcoin? But overall, we got our answer. Nice bull pennant, got the bullish breakout, and now it's one of those things where it's, in some senses, you kind of just got to use your gut instincts where you could find some resistance because it's essentially a blue sky breakout. But what makes this a little bit more interesting is, okay, if this thing pulls back, where some potential pullback areas. And the first key level right there at what I would call 64,050. So keep an eye on that as far as, if you're someone that's just trying to play some momentum, but you want to give it a breath. So the idea of coming down there, back testing the former breakout area and then making a move upwards, that is certainly a plausible scenario. In terms of the overall health of the move, well, then we once again are right back with that 50-period moving average. So as that line moves its upwards, or as the trend line draws itself for you, Bitcoin as a whole, as long as it stays above that purple line, then there's really nothing wrong with it at all, because nothing can go straight up. So, even if it pulls back here and then starts to head back up or something like that, all that requires it to put in those higher lows, and that's what matters most. So from a very broad sense, really the easiest way to, track Bitcoin right now is just to simply say, as long as it stays above that 50-period moving average, the bulls are in health, or full health, bulls are in full control. So I hope you enjoyed. Again, go get signed up for that free webinar. It'll be later this week, Thursday, March 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and I hope to see you there. If you enjoy these top 10 videos and if you enjoy seeing Bitcoin, hit that like button, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you traded today. Give me your watch list for tomorrow. Let me know where do you think Bitcoin's going to finally pull back at. But thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one.